How's it going? I'm finally back in my local forest. I think it's been 4 weeks since I last uploaded from this place, so it's good to be back. Now, I'm starting today with a find that I've been looking for a couple of years now, so I'm pretty pleased to be finding it right at the beginning of this walk, and that is a tiny eyelash cup fungus. It's a really bizarre looking species. It's quite difficult to photograph. So I've already got the camera set up here in a composition that I'm quite happy with. So I'll take this first photo and I'll try for a few more different compositions, see what else I can find. I'm shooting at half-second exposure for this, so it's going to take quite a while to get enough photos to complete the stack, just because of how dark it is here. I think I'm happy with that now. I'm going to try and carefully rotate the log a little bit that it's growing on, so I can get a bit more of a top-down view, not so much from the side. I've found a second composition here that I'm quite happy with. I want to try and get this whole sort of cluster of them in one shot. It's going to be quite a deep stack front to back. I'm going to have to take a lot of photos, and at this long exposure that's going to take me quite a while. So I'll start that now. I think that should do it. Also noticing this tiny fungus, possibly slime mould, I'm not entirely sure what it is. I can barely see it with my eyes, but I've spotted it through the camera. So I might in a second switch out to the teleconverter to get even closer and hopefully get a shot of that. So I'm going to put the teleconverter on now to get even closer to try and capture this other stuff that I've found. I might also try find a couple more compositions of the eyelash cup fungus while I've got that on. I won't bother filming all that for you, I'll just stick in the photos at the end here, and then we'll move on to see what else I can find today. I've just looked under a few pieces of wood and found this lovely little centipede. I've already taken a photo of it because you never know how long you'll get with these. So I snapped a photo before it runs away. As you see, I think it's starting to wake up now. Now I've just looked under a few little pieces of wood along this path, and I've found these tiny mushrooms growing on this really rotten piece of wood that are absolutely covered in small droplets of water. I believe they're Simocybe species, but I could be wrong. If I find out otherwise, I'll correct it when I'm editing this. So what I've done here is I'm using the slope of this bank here to allow me to get a nice composition and balance the camera in a way that I'm happy with. I'm starting off with a portrait composition, which I'll take now. Now I'm wondering if it's worth putting the teleconverter on to get that a little bit closer, because this is full magnification and it's not quite filling the frame as much as I'd like it to. So now that's taken, I'll switch to the teleconverter I think. Now I'll try and find a nice composition with the teleconverter on. I think that should be pretty good. This might even be too close now. Or at least I've got the best of both. I think that's just about done. Now I'm just going to try and get a photo of the other one as well, see if that's any different looking. It's a little bit smaller, which might be good for the teleconverter. Yeah, I think I found another composition that I'm happy with there, so I'll take this. I have a slight change of location here, as those last couple of photos reminded me that I've not really found much of one of my favourite subjects for this time of year, which is these Dewdrop Bonnets. So I've came here because in previous years I found a lot of them in this spot. I've stopped here for maybe 30 seconds, searched a few sticks, and already found this one which has quite a few of them on it. And some of them have got a lot of really nice droplets all over them. So I'm going to spend a little while here, try and take a few different compositions. I can already see there's one larger one that looks like it'll make a nice shot. There's two side by side as well, and then a few sort of inside the bark as well. I'll definitely be able to get at least 3 or 4 nice photos of this. We'll start with just a 90mm, but for some of the tinier ones I might need to put the teleconverter on yet again. Balancing this stick on a few different little pebbles to try and find the angle that I'm after. So I want the sort of side on, but also looking up at it to capture the gills underneath. It's a bit tricky to get it in the right spot. Yeah, I think I found something that I'm happy with. I'm definitely going to have to put the teleconverter on for the smaller ones, because even this larger one's not filling the frame too much. And now I've got the teleconverter on, I'm going to go for these 2 small ones that are side by side. See if I can get something good of them. Took a little bit of messing around trying to get this composition that I'm happy with. It's so fiddly with the teleconverter, it's such high magnification. But I think I'm happy with this, so I'll let it take the stack now. There's just a couple inside the bark that I want to get a shot of as well. There's one on its own and then another 2 side by side. So I'll do that. Okay, I've got the tiny one on its own in the frame now, and it's got a perfect ring of droplets all around the cap of it. So it's making out for a nice photo, that. And now one last shot that I want to get is these 2 side by side that are also within the bark. I was just walking through this area of sort of ancient oak trees. I've come across this large patch of fallen, rotting pieces of wood here. I thought it's the perfect place to find something, so instead of my usual finding stuff then filming, I thought I'd show you more of the behind the scenes of me actually sifting through some of this to see what I can find. I might find nothing, but that's all part of the fun. Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes there's so many things it's hard to choose what to photograph. So I'll start searching. I was just about to give up and say I'm not really finding anything here. I'm glad I didn't, because I've just found this gorgeous little slime mould. It's like a bright orange colour with white stem to it. I can see possibly a few different compositions here. I'm definitely going to have to put the teleconverter on because these are absolutely tiny. But luckily I've got it in my pocket with me. So I think there's sort of 2 stuck together that I want to try and get a photo of for the first composition. Just got to figure out the best way of getting it there. Thinking using this raised bit of wood as a platform to put the subject on might work. Well, this is looking a bit too high up actually. I'm struggling to get it to work. So I might move it maybe just down here where it's a little bit lower. See if I can get something to work there. Yeah, this is working a lot better now. It also creates a nice dark background because there's more wood instead of just the white of the forest behind. So I think I found a nice composition of the two side by side that I spotted. So I'll let it take the stack, and then I'll try a couple more as well. There's definitely a few compositions that could be made here. Another two side by side that I also think I'll go and have a try with. There's also one on its own on the side that I think I can get to look nice. There's a nice little group of three. I'll take a photo of them, and then do want to see if there's possibly any landscape, and also experiment with the backdrop a bit, but other than that, I think we're ready to move on. I've just found another nice patch of rotting wood here, and I was curious about this quite large piece here. I've turned it over, and there's another slime mold species, and luckily I've still got the teleconverter on from the last one, so I should be able to get a couple of nice shots of this quite quickly. There's also some tiny mushrooms growing in there as well, so I'll probably photograph them after. It's going to be tricky to get this in a good position. It's such a large, awkwardly shaped piece of wood. I'm sure I'll find something that works. I've just realised this particular little bit of wood was loose, so I've been able to just pick it up off the main piece, and it's got a couple here that should make for a good photo. I'll just move back a bit and do similar to what I did before. Put it on a raised piece of wood here to allow me to get the low angle that I'm after. And I've managed to find a nice portrait composition that I think should work. Okay, I'll go for one wider shot just to see if I can get anything to work. Okay, now I think I'll try and get a quick photo of these tiny mushrooms if I can. It's going to be a bit difficult though. I need to try and balance this here. So if I take a stick like that, does that work? Let's see if that'll work. I think I've found a nice landscape composition that works there of one of the larger ones of the tiny mushrooms. The rest of them, when I saw them up close through the camera, didn't really look very good. But this one looks quite nice, so I'll take this and then I'll search the rest of this wood, see if there's anything else around here. Oh, there's more of that previous slime mold species, the bright orange coloured one. A large cluster of it. Seeing a possible really large landscape composition to get all those in. I'll move somewhere a little bit more comfortable. Because I don't want to faff around taking the teleconverter on and off, I'm having to move the camera quite far back to get all of this in frame. But it should turn out pretty nice, so it'll be worth it. And the nice thing is there's two sort of on their own in front of the group. So what I might do is take a photo where just those are in focus and you've just got the out of focus cluster in the backdrop, and then also try and get one with all of it in focus. I want to try and get a closer one of the two side by side at the foreground. Try and really just focus on those. I think I'll probably call this the last find of the day, unless I find anything on the walk back after. I've come across a lovely patch of Mycena mushrooms growing on this fallen tree. And now what I think I'm going to do is switch over to my old 30mm macro lens, because I'd love to get a wider scene from down here, sort of capture a bit of the forest in the backdrop as well. It might not turn out great, but it's worth a try. And now I've switched to the old 30mm macro lens. I found this really nice composition. That nice tree in the background and a few bits of forest as well. Because I don't need to focus stack when I'm shooting like this, I've switched to high res mode instead to allow me to get a much higher resolution image, so I can crop it and zoom in and do whatever I want with it later. So I think I'll try a few compositions using this setup. I'll stick them in here, and then I think that's time to call it a day, as my camera that I'm filming with is about to run out of battery. And I also need to get back and have time to actually edit and finish the video I'm currently editing, which is the video you'll have seen last week. I just spotted this bright white blob, which when I've looked closer is some very immature Stemonitis slime mould. And when I've looked a bit closer, I've noticed, if you can just about see it there, there's also some very mature Stemonitis as well. Sadly, none of it in the middle stage when it's colourful and the most photogenic, but I'll snap a couple of photos of both stages, see if either of them come out as a nice photo. Seems like I picked the perfect place to stop. There's in the same place as that Stemonitis, there's also this bright red slime mould which I've never found before. See, I've got the teleconverter back on and I found this composition that looks really nice. It's been a pain to take, the wind kept messing it up, but I have managed to take the shot, so pretty pleased with that. I think I'll have one last search on this log because it just seems to be providing so much. And then I probably will actually call it a day there. I found yet another species of slime mould on this same log. It's funny, I've gone a year struggling to find any, and then 3 species appear in one spot. I think it might be the same species as earlier, but in a less colourful stage. Either that or it's a similar species. You see, I've got a landscape composition of it this time, mainly because it's the only thing I could get to work with where it is. And another species on the same log. This is just unreal. I found this lovely landscape composition of it as well. Now, I'd be very surprised if there's any more. I will have one last look. But I feel like I've already pushed my luck much further than I expected here. And yet another slime mould in the same location. This is a coral slime. I've found this a few times, but it's always great to snap a few photos of it. So I've sort of isolated this small piece here that was growing on a raised bit of the wood. gone for a portrait composition of it there. So I think now it's probably time to actually call it a day. So thanks for watching.